Hello everyone. In this lecture I am going to talk about the different treatment strategies that are used for the treatment of effluent discharged from dairy industry. Actually the industrial wastewater contains various pollutants and these pollutants may contaminate or produce negative consequences in the water bodies. So that wastewater must be treated first and then should be discharged into the water bodies. So the different treatment strategies that are used for the treatment of such wastewater, I am going to talk about all these strategies in this lecture. Let's first understand what is dairy industry and what happens or what are the operations that are carried out in the dairy industry, what are the products produced here and all that. Actually, dairy industry involves the processing of raw milk or the transformation of the raw milk into various products like market milk, condensed milk, milk powder, cream, butter, cheese, curd, yogurt, ice cream and all these are the different products that are produced in the dairy industry. Raw milk is processed or by using various techniques, that raw milk is converted into these all kinds of products, and the production procedures that are used for carry out the production of these products may be pasteurization, sterilization, separation, filtration, homogenization and all that. and uh, and in this process the byproducts that are present in the wastewater discharged from the dairy industry, these are whey, buttermilk, fats and all that. Besides that, a lot of water is used for cleaning the equipments or the containers which are used for carrying out various operations in the dairy industry, and that cleaning water contains sanitizing agents. So ultimately in the wastewater there are present these sanitizing agents. Thus, in the wastewater that is generated from the dairy industry, that contains whey, buttermilk, fats, and sanitizing agents and all that. So that is necessary to clean that water from these all kinds of substances. Categories of dairy wastewater. The wastewater that get generated from the dairy industry has been characterized mainly into three categories, and these are processing or cooling wastewater, sanitary wastewater, industrial or cleaning wastewater. So these are the different kinds of wastewater that get generated from the dairy industry. So let's understand what are the different operations or what are the different procedures in which these different kinds of wastewater generates, and what are the consequences of these different kinds of wastewater, what is the composition of these wastewater, and what are the treatment strategies that can be used for cleaning the different kinds of wastewaters that generates from the dairy industry. Processing or cooling water. In the dairy industry, various equipments and various operations that are carried out generally generates cool water, and the equipments which generate cool water are cooling tower, condensers, water softener, boiler, backwashing of filters and all that. And in these equipments, operation of cooling water of milk or whey is carried out. Condensates formation takes place and which may contain volatile substances as well as milk or whey droplets from the evaporators. And such type of normal cold water does not have any pollutants generally, so it is discharged as such without any further treatment into the main water bodies. Sanitary wastewater. That kind of water generates in the dairy industry by cleaning of milk cans, tanks, tankers, and the reason where that process is carried out and all that. the water that generates by washing, that is sanitary wastewater. And generally that water forms in large quantity, because large quantity of water is used for washing all these. Now that kind of water contains organic content as well as inorganic content. Organic content generally comes from the milk, that is the milk protein, milk sugar, milk fat and all that. Inorganic content comes from the detergents that are used for cleaning, and that may contain deflocculates that separate out the various components which are present in the waste materials, so that they can be easily cleaned up. And that inorganic content may contain phosphates, chlorine, nitrogen and all that. Nitrogen may be present in the wetting agents, in the sanitizers, and that chlorine that comes from the detergents or the sanitizing products and all that. So ultimately that water contain organic content as well as inorganic content, and such type of waste is sent to the sewage treatment plant for further treatment. Industrial or cleaning wastewater, this is termed as industrial wastewater because that is the main effluent that is sent to the effluent treatment plant for further treatment. And this is termed as cleaning wastewater because that is the water which generates by cleaning of the equipments that are used for processing of milk. And the amount of that kind of water and concentration of that kind of water, that depends upon which kind of product is forming, and the capacity, uh, that means how much that product is forming, and the design of the processing plant that is used to carry out the whole process. Now, over 90% of the organic solids in this effluent comes from milk, and mainly these comprises of all the manufacturing residues, like that of, if suppose cheese, that cheese is going to be prepared, then cheese pieces may be there, whey, cream, water, and all that. And besides that, if yogurt is preparing, then starter culture, that means the culture that is used to generate the yogurt. Besides that, food concentrates, stabilizers and all that, these all things are present in that wastewater. And this type of water generates in large quantity, and this is highly biodegradable in nature, and these effluents are highly polluted, so these are treated in effluent treated plant further before discharge into the water bodies. Now the different characteristics of the dairy waste are: dairy waste is highly complex in nature. It contains carbohydrates like milk sugar, it contains milk fat, milk proteins and all that. And these all components are mostly biodegradable in nature. So that provides biodegradability to the dairy waste. And their biodegradability of different components also varies. Like milk sugar is more biodegradable, but milk fat is less biodegradable. Ultimately, the dairy waste has biodegradability, that is, that waste can be decomposed by the microorganisms. It has high biological oxygen demand, and that high biological oxygen demand, it's is due to its different components that I have already told you, that it contains milk sugar, milk fat, lipids and all that. These all components raises its biological oxygen demand because microbes require more and more oxygen for the decomposition of these all kinds of components which are present in the milk. These also raises the chemical oxygen demand, and usually the color of the dairy waste is white in color, and pH is slightly alkaline, that range from 5.5 to 10.5. And besides that, dairy waste contains dissolved solids and also the suspended solids, and the presence of these suspended solids makes it difficult to choose a effective wastewater treatment method. So these all are the different characteristics of the dairy waste, which makes it highly complex, and the treatment of that waste also becomes a very complex process. Now the objectives of treating dairy waste. Thus, there are various characteristics of the dairy wastewater are there, that is it has high BOD, high COD and high organic content and all that. So the main objectives to treat the dairy waste is to reduce the organic content of the wastewater, and also to reduce the nutrients that are present in the wastewater, because that these nutrients may favor the growth of the microorganisms when such type of water get released into the water bodies, and that may produce various negative consequences that may causes eutrophication, and it may cause the water unfit for living of aquatic organisms, and also to remove or inactivate the potential pathogenic microorganisms which are present in the dairy waste, because the actually the waste materials uh, favor the growth of the microorganisms, and pathogenic microorganisms can easily flourish in that kind of wastewater. So these grown microorganisms should be removed from the dairy wastewater. Then only such type of water becomes suitable for discharge into the water bodies. Treatment of effluent generated from dairy industry. There are three main kinds of treatments that are given to effluent that generates from the dairy industry, and these are mechanical treatment, physiochemical treatment and biological treatment. Mechanical treatment. This is the preliminary stage or the preparatory stage for dairy wastewater treatment. And the purpose of preliminary treatment is to protect the whole operation of the wastewater treatment plant. And this is achieved by removing from the wastewater any constituents which are present and which can clog or damage the pumps or interfere with the subsequent treatment processes. And for this the different devices that are used, these are screens, grit chamber, skimming tank and primary sedimentation tank or clarifiers. Now screens are generally of two types. These are bar screens and rack screens, and these screens actually provide the openings for passing of water, and on the screens materials get accumulate and which is removed later on, and such kind of material, accumulated material, can be removed from the screens manually as well as automatically, or in other words we can also say that screens are like sieves. They provide an obstacle for moving of solid materials or floating materials which are present in the waste matter, and they get accumulate on these sieves, and these are removed later on manually as well as automatically. Now next are grit chambers. Now the wastewater usually contains heavier inorganic solids. These solids are present in large quantity, and these materials may be sand, gravel, and these kind of materials are collectively called as grit, and that these materials get accumulate at the bottom, and which is further cleaned manually as well as automatically. Next are skimming tanks. Skimming tanks are used to remove the oil, grease, wood pieces, fruit skins, and these contents are also like floating contents, and they got attached to the skimmers. So for the removal of these skimming tanks are used. Next are settling tanks or clarifiers, and here the water is kept for some time, and when it is kept, then solid material which has a tendency to get settled down, it gets settled down at the bottom of that sedimentation tank, and that collected material is termed as sludge, and that sludge is further given additional treatment to make them harmless. So these are the different treatments which are given before the actual treatments for cleaning the effluent, and these remove all the suspended floating solids from the solids as well as oil, grease from the wastewater, so that the subsequent processes may take place smoothly. Physiochemical treatment. This is also termed as precipitation. Now, after the mechanical treatment, those solids which are of very small size and which cannot be settled down at the bottom, then such kind of suspended very small or fine particles are precipitated out by the use of various flocculants and coagulants, that is the chemicals which make these fine particles to get aggregate and form larger flakes. These larger flakes can easily settle down at the bottom, and the chemical coagulants that are generally used are aluminum sulfate, ferric sulfate, ferrous sulfate, and all that. These chemicals causes the finer particles to get attached to each other so that aggregates can form, and due to their large size of aggregates, these aggregates can easily settle down at the bottom in the form of sludge. Now this method requires expensive and synthetic chemicals which are not environment friendly, and this is the disadvantage of that method, and also the resulting scum that form, that means the material that settle down at the bottom, that is also of very hard in nature, and so this is not mixed up with activated sludge that we will discuss later on, and and such kind of scum also needs proper treatment before disposal to any site. And the disadvantage of using chemicals in that method can be overcome by replacing these chemicals with biopolymers like carboxymethyl cellulose, chitosan, and then, and if these materials are used, then sludge becomes suitable for to be used as animal food ingredients. Biological treatment. Now in the dairy effluent, the main constituents that are present, these are organic in nature, and organic material are easily degraded by the microorganisms. So the most appropriate method for the removal of such kind of organic waste from the dairy effluent is the use of microorganisms. Microorganisms degrade these organic compounds and ultimately convert these organic compounds into simpler substances. Now the microbes are used in mainly two ways. First are aerobic treatment and another is anaerobic treatment. In the aerobic treatment, microbes are given in a sufficient supply of oxygen, and in anaerobic treatment, oxygen supply is not given to the microorganisms, and ultimately in both of these processes microbes acts on the organic compounds and convert these organic compounds into simpler substances. And one more way by which these microbes clean the industrial effluent, that is microbes absorb the toxic materials like heavy metals on their surfaces, and in this way remove these toxic heavy metals from the effluent. Aerobic treatment. In the aerobic treatment, microorganisms are grown in oxygen rich environment, and in that environment microbes degrade the organic compounds completely into carbon dioxide and water. Besides that, microbes use these organic compounds as a source of nutrients, and these organic compounds maintain the growth of the microorganisms and thus form the cellular material of microbes. Now the conventional systems that are used for giving that aerobic treatment to the effluent are activated sludge process, rotating biological contractors, trickling filters, oxidation ditch, etc. Now the sludge that is formed in the aerobic biodegradation processes sometimes produce disposal problems because the particles which are present in the sludge absorb the organic compounds on their surfaces, and besides that it may absorb toxic heavy metals also, and it becomes difficult to dispose such kind of toxic sludge. Anaerobic treatment. Anaerobic treatment is carried out in the wastewater when concentrated wastewater is there. And in anaerobic treatment, microorganisms work on the waste materials or organic material that are present in the wastewater in the absence of oxygen. And in the absence of oxygen, microbes convert that organic material into biogas by hydrolysis and acidification. Biogas uh, biogas typically consists of methane, carbon dioxide, and also other gases like hydrogen sulfide, and all that. And this biogas is used as an energy source, and it has been found that about 5% of the organic content gets converted into biogas, and the rest of it are used for the cell growth and maintenance. And that process of anaerobic treatment is also termed as anaerobic digestion. And here the reactors that are used for carrying out that process, these are protected in such a way that prevent the entrapment of air into these reactors, and also cover these reactors so that there will be no release of foul smell outside. Sludge treatment. In all the treatments that have been given to the wastewater, like preliminary treatment, primary treatment, secondary treatment, or we can say that mechanical, physiochemical, or biological treatment, in all these treatment processes, all the material that settle down or that sediment at the bottom, that is termed as sludge, and that sludge is collected in thickening tanks to which chemicals are added to further facilitate the aggregation of the particles that are present in the sludge, or to make that sludge more compact so that it can be further used for other purposes. Now that sludge is generally homogeneous, practically odorless and dark in color, and its moisture content initially is very high, that is about 94 to 97%, and thereafter it is dewatered by the use of decanter centrifuge, and ultimately its volume reduced to its 1/8 of its original volume. And that dewatered sludge that can be used as a fertilizer in agriculture, or also it can be disposed of on the landfill sites. Now more now in the sludge there are present there are present organic compounds in high amount, and these organic compounds can also be broken down and uh, under anaerobic conditions. And under anaerobic conditions, as we have already discussed, when microbes act on the organic compounds, they generate methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen sulfide. That means a mixture of gases generates, and that mixture of gases is termed as biogas, and this is also known as anaerobic digestion. So in this way also that sludge is used. Need of advanced technologies for dairy effluent treatment. Now up to that we have discussed all the conventional technologies that are used for the treatment of dairy effluent. Like when we say about aerobic treatment, then conventional treatment methods like activated sludge process, trickling filter, rotating drum filter and all that, these all methods are used. But there is a problem in that method. These all methods require more energy for aeration. And when we say about anaerobic treatment method, then also, this method also converts only 5% of organic matter into biogas. So that is the disadvantage that is associated with anaerobic method. So due to these disadvantages, advanced technologies are also used for dairy effluent treatment. Now, in earlier we have discussed a physiochemical process, that is precipitation by the use of chemicals. But as chemicals are polluting in nature, these are toxic. So, the new advanced method that is used for coagulate the or aggregate the finer waste particles that are present in the wastewater, that is electrocoagulation. It is a process of electrolysis which remove the dissolved organic waste, turbidity and the coloring matter by passing the electric current through the effluent. And under the influence of that electric field, these all suspended materials in the wastewater that get coagulate, and ultimately after coagulation their size increases and those matter can easily settle down. So this is used for the removal of the suspended colloidal particles in the wastewater. And next advanced method is adsorption. Adsorption means to adsorb the suspended organic matters on the surface, and on the surface of certain adsorbents. And here the most commonly used adsorbent is activated carbon. Activated carbon is a kind of carbon that processed to have small or very low volume pores that increase the surface area available for adsorption. So more and more adsorption of solid material can take place on the activated carbon. And besides that, other adsorbents are also used for the removal of these solid content from the wastewaters, and these are rice husk ash, coal fly ash, store dust, coconut coir, bagasse, fly ash and all that. So these adsorbents are used to remove the suspended solid material from the wastewater. Now the next advanced method is membrane treatment, and here membrane is used in which pores are there, and these pores retain these suspended solid particles which are present in the waste, and from there these solid particles are separated out. And membranes are of different types are used. These membranes differ from each other in their pore size, as well as the method that is used for the separation of solid particles from the wastewater. That is, in some of the methods pressure is applied. In some of the method under the influence of electric field, solid suspended particles are removed by the use of membrane and all that. So the main important or the main processes are microfiltration, nanofiltration, ultrafiltration, reverse osmosis, electrodialysis and all that. In the case of microfiltration is a membrane treatment method, and here these special pore sized membranes are used to separate these suspended particles from the wastewater. These suspended particles get retained over the surface of the membrane, and here the size of the pores are like that ki micro sized particles can be easily separated out from the wastewater. And in the case of nanofiltration, nano-sized particles can be separated out. Ultrafiltration, in ultrafiltration, forces like pressure or concentration gradient leads to the separation of the waste particles through the semi-permeable membrane. In the case of reverse osmosis, pressure is applied to overcome the osmotic pressure, and so the movement of the solid particles takes place in the reverse direction of that of osmotic pressure. And in electrodialysis, uh, ions are moved from one solution to another solution, and here the ion exchange membrane is operated under the influence of electric field. So the charged particles, we can say that charged solid particles from the wastewater can be easily separated out by the use of electrodialysis. And these all methods are very efficient and remove out the solid particles from the wastewater very efficiently. Aerobic process. Now the conventional aerobic processes that are used are activated sludge process, trickling filters, rotating drum filters, and all that. Now one of the advanced aerobic process is sequencing batch reactor, and that it is a modification of activated sludge method. And here this set of tanks are used that operate on the basis of fill and draw activated sludge, so that removal of all the undesirable components from the wastewater can take place. And here in that process there are 5 stages in the treatment process, and these are fill, react, settle, decant, and idle. And first of the tank get filled when inlet valve is opened. Here no external air introduced, so that it is a anoxic stage. In the next stage, aeration is performed by the use of aeration pumps or by transferring through the fine bubble diffusers that are built at the bottom. In the third stage, settling of suspended solid starts. And during the fourth stage, the outlet valve opens and clean supernatant is taken out from there. So these are the different stages that are present in that sequencing batch reactor. And here the different tanks that are used, that are similar to that which are used in oxidation ditch method, that is maybe in the form of a rectangular basin, maybe made up of concrete or metal type. And each of the tank in SBR system is filled during a discrete period of time, and then is operated same like that of batch reactor that was operated in the activated sludge process. Now the essential difference between sequencing batch reactor and conventional continuous flow activated sludge system is that in the case of sequencing batch reactor, all the functions like equalization, aeration, and sedimentation, these all are carried out at different times. So these are carried out efficiently. And second one advantage is that in the case of continuous flow activated sludge process, additional clarifiers are also used. So these additional clarifiers adds up the extra cost, but that sequencing batch reactor process is cost saving. Now in the case of SBR, investment uh, is also less due to due to the more and more efficiency of that method, and that method is mostly used when there are more total solids are present in the wastewater. And the overall efficiency of that method depends upon various parameters like hydraulic retention time, organic loading, pH, dissolved oxygen concentration, temperature, mixed liquor, suspended solids, and the strength of the wastewater. So these are the different parameters that affect the overall efficiency of a sequencing batch reactor. Now, in earlier we have discussed a physiochemical process, that is precipitation by the use of chemicals. But as chemicals are polluting in nature, these are toxic. So, the new advanced method that is used for coagulate the or aggregate the finer waste particles that are present in the wastewater, that is electrocoagulation. It is a process of electrolysis which remove the dissolved organic waste, turbidity and the coloring matter by passing the electric current through the effluent. And under the influence of that electric field, these all suspended materials in the wastewater that get coagulate, and ultimately after coagulation their size increases, and those matter can easily settle down. So this is used for the removal of the suspended colloidal particles in the wastewater. References for this presentation are these.